When will my ex realize that they made a mistake? It's probably one of the most common questions that I get in coaching sessions with my clients when I have our first coaching session or on WhatsApp. And the idea of this video is really to explain you that it's when your ex will realize that it was a mistake rather than if they realize that it was a mistake. I'll explain you why it is when and not if after the jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
My name is Alexis, I'm a relationship counselor and my job is to help you get back with your ex. We're going to talk about anxiety first. You will feel anxious. Everybody feels anxious after a breakup if we are breaking up with someone we care a lot. And it's the same for your ex. At some stage, they will feel that anxiety. But the reason they don't feel at the same time as you is because they process the breakup a little bit before you. We often say that 30% of the relationship we took to decide whether we should end the relationship. And so they broke up with you in their head slightly before you. And that's why you feel really anxious right now after the breakup. But it's the same for them. There's going to be a delay. Now they're I'm going to explain that after. They have sort of that release phase. Whereas like you're still like really struggling with that news. Maybe you're struggling to get out of bed. Maybe you're struggling to eat. Maybe you eat too much. Maybe you sleep too much. Maybe you sleep too little. All these kind of things that makes you feel suffering from that breakup. And that's why I also mentioned in that slide that if you feel that you want to talk or you want to have support from people, you can join one of our private WhatsApp groups. The idea is to be surrounded by like-minded people in a private chat room where you can ask as many questions as you want, where you can share your story, when you can ask people who are in the same situation some help. And it's really the interactions are just magical because people are really caring for each other. When I launched these WhatsApp groups, I didn't know whether it would work or not, but I was really surprised by how people are sort of supportive with each other, and it's just amazing. The feedback is outstanding so far. So have a look in the description if you want to join one of those WhatsApp groups. So what you have to understand is you have to leave sometimes. As we discussed, your ex will go, maybe, let's say his mood is here and you're here, and very quickly he's gonna go down, and I'll explain why in some second. So the thing is, gradually some details of their daily routine will remind them of you. Maybe just making a cup of coffee because he used to make you a cup of coffee. Maybe it's just like in the evening watching Netflix and he can't really, or she can't really share that thing with you. Or maybe going out. There's so many things if you had a relationship together that would remind them of you. And they would start to feel that void. And sometimes, just the warning sign, sometimes they will want to fill that void with someone. Sometimes that emotional void, they will want to really have someone. They won't feel that they're ready to be alone. Some people, they hate being alone. They need someone to be with them. And so this is when sometimes people will get into a rebound relationship. I've done other videos on rebound relationship. Have a look if that's the case for you, if your ex is dating someone in rebound. But usually the reason they are dating someone is because they want to fill that void. And so it's also time for nostalgia. They really look back at those times together, and that will bring them sort of those happy memories. Now, even though they are thinking about you, they will always get in touch way later than we want. Always, always, always. There are tons of reasons for your ex to postpone getting in touch with you. What you have to understand is also a massive misconception is that it's not because they don't reach out that they don't love you, they don't have feelings. It's really because there's this inner battle in their head. Yeah, but I really love them, I miss them. Yeah, but he hurt me. Actually we had so many great memories together. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to change. So they have this sort of inner battle in their head, and every single relationship, every single case that I've worked on, it's exactly the same. We have those mixed, what we call the way you can see it is those mixed messages, and I'll explain it right after. And so this void will get bigger and bigger every day. Now, the thing is, you have to understand that this works on few cases. Statistically, most breakups, most relationships, when they end, there's no point getting back together. I'm pretty sure that you've been in relationships before, and you broke up with your ex before, and you didn't want to save that relationship, and they didn't want to save that relationship. And so I think you have relationships that are worth saving, and that's what I do for a living, and that's what I love to do. But you have to really make sure that your relationship can be saved, and that's why I put together a quiz for you to really assess whether your relationship can be saved, whether this void is actually created. Because in some occasion, your ex might not feel the void, might just be really happy about breaking up. They will have this release phase, but they wouldn't get into that nostalgia for various reasons that I assess in the quiz. So I would actually urge you to take the quiz if you're not sure, because if you're not, you don't have a score above 15, it means that statistically your ex has moved on and doesn't really expect you to get back with them. It doesn't want you to get back with them. So it's very hard for them to admit they are wrong. Perhaps they told everyone. Perhaps they told, at work, your colleagues, and they told all their colleagues, all their clients, we're not together anymore. They also say, like, I'm sure, they have this pride, like, I'm sure when I make a decision, it's for sure. I hear that often from my clients when they say, like, my ex, she's different. When she says something, she believes it, and, she said she was sure. 3 months after, she was back. So they are afraid to look silly. It's normal, it's natural. We don't want to come across as someone who doesn't know what they want. And so if they have a big ego, of course, it's really hard to admit. Also, avoidant people tend to struggle with this, and they are stuck. In some occasion, and again, if you are not sure, I will explain at the end. If some occasion it's okay to reach out, I'll explain after at the end. This is what they will do, however. If we have a score above 15, this is what they'll do. They will send you a long love letter, talking about the feelings they have for you, really spending a lot of time analyzing the breakup and why they want to get back with you. Or they show up at your place with flowers, balloons, saying like, let's get back together. Or sometimes they can come at your door with poems, like this, love declarations like that in front of at your doorstep and things like that. So it's very frequent for dumpers to really show this type of behavior. It is completely wrong. It never ever happens like that. Don't expect your ex, and I'm going to be serious right now, don't expect your ex to reach out being apologetic, regardless of how ugly the breakup was, regardless how wrong he was, regardless of, they will never, ever, ever, ever come back to you saying like, I'm so sorry, let's get back together. It never works like this. So really the idea for me right now is to manage your expectations on what you should be, the type of message you'll hear from your ex at this stage. This is what they do. They'll find stupid excuses to get in touch. They'll probably ask you about your family, about your dog, about your cat. Things like totally out of the blue. However, don't take things like, because you have a phone plan together or things like that. They don't message you because they care for you and ask you for your phone plan, just that they need to pay the bill or they want you to pay the bill. So don't take this kind of administrative, financial stuff in context. But there are so many ways for them to reach out. They would test the water. So they just send something really small, something even like boring. They would test just to say if you're alive. They're just curious to know what you're up to. The thing is, also very interesting is some avoidant people, they reach out and they will never ever talk about the breakup. They will never ever. It's just like they come back to the picture and like nothing happened. It's really classic. I'm kind of the person who would do that. But who would do that in the past, because now I'm working on myself, I'm more secure than before. But a lot of people, they're just like, yeah, problem, no problem. And they come back. And so, of course, you need to have a proper discussion to really fix what was broken in the relationship. But there's some avoidant people sometimes come back, not saying that they have made anything wrong. Just a reminder, take the quiz if you're not sure if you want to get back with your ex. The link is in the first comment of the video and also in the description. So the last slide, sometimes they need a little push. That's what I mentioned briefly before. Sometimes they believe that you have to reach out. And again, I'm not judging whether it's right or wrong. I don't care. What I care is for you to get back with your ex. So sometimes they just expect you that you show that you care. You know, sometimes they feel like, you know, if they really care for me, they have, I'm not talking about they have to fight for me, but they have to show that they care. Sometimes women will expect you to make a first move. And it's really not about you leading the conversation, but just testing the water the same way. It's really, again, about testing the water. If your score is above 15 and you've done the quiz, this should be okay. I hate to give you one-size-fits-all tips because it really depends on cases. The quiz is really to rule out the cases where I'm sure it's going to be very hard for me to help you. Okay, but then there's a massive spectrum of cases. So if you're not sure, don't hesitate to get in touch with me if you have any questions about whether you should break no contact, whether you're blocked and you don't know exactly what to do, whether you feel that you've done everything but still no sign of your ex. Don't hesitate to give me a call. I don't bite, and you'll have some sort of tools and also pointers for you to get unstuck. Don't hesitate also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.